You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 131. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valdez.
Yay! Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out this show, plus many other cool podcasts like the all-new Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Super Podcasto Magnifico at rhymeswithgeek.com. And if you enjoy this show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher. Also, now we are a new thing to announce, Spencer, is some of our episodes are being cherry-picked and used on backissueheroes.com, which is an all classic comics-oriented website. All the articles are about vintage comics, and now they have a couple of podcasts, including us, that are just kicking it old school, like we do. Yeah. So, neat website, lots of fun articles, and it's pretty new, but it's growing. It's not going to be... I'm not going to be as involved with them as I am Rhymes with Geek, but the guy, Kurt Lloyd is the guy who runs the website, and he's a Portlander. I met him, actually. He's got a documentary about comics that he's working on, and next time we meet, I'll have remembered what it was called, because I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. But neat guy, and cool website, and I had another point that I was going to make, and it's just died. But I said, he approached me, said I wanted to be involved in this website. I said, as long as you give me credit, have a ball, use whatever you want. So, and that's what he's doing, and I think he's just downloading the episodes from iTunes or Stitcher or something, and then reposting them, and it's very cool.
More people should be as laid back as you.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get to be this laid back. I used to be a really high-strung guy. Some things I am, but I said, look, as long as you're not passing it off as your own,
right?
Like, go for it, you know. And it's, you know, it's somebody else that's helping help this show grow. So right on. So yes, thanks, Kurt, and please check out, if you listen to this show, please check out backissueheroes.com. It's a cool site. Okay, so today you and I haven't recorded in weeks because of the stupid holidays.
Yeah.
But
family.
Gah. But this is a part 2 of our look at Showcase Presents Green Lantern Volume 1.
You can't see it, but I am Vanna Whiting it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. That's very good. And today, hopefully we won't have to break it up into 2 episodes, but we'll see how long it goes. Yeah. But we're going to talk about the issues we'll talk about are Green Lantern numbers 1 through 5. Yep. Last time we did the 3 issue run in Showcase. Yeah. And so why don't we just get right in it? Oh, one thing that I mentioned, I was referring to this as early work by Gil Kane on pencils, and that's not actually really accurate, because this is like late 50s at the earliest, or like 1960. All the stories today are from like 1960, 61. And Gil Kane had been working in comics since the 40s.
Oh, yeah.
So stupid on me. But I'm really looking forward to, we are going to do all 5 Showcase volumes of the Green Lantern eventually. But we'll be pretty, on it and do them. And I think the first 4 volumes are all penciled by Gil Kane. And we're really, and like, this early stuff is good but unremarkable.
Okay.
But no, I'm not trying to bag on Gil Kane, but let me tell you where I'm going with this.
Okay.
As you look at Gil Kane's stuff progress, he really becomes, quote-unquote, Gil Kane because of his lengthy run on Green Lantern. He really developed his stuff. Give an artist a book and keep him on a book for a decade and really watch them grow as an artist.
Yeah.
And because some of the really wild, almost Steve Ditko-y kind of psychedelic kind of panel work that he does really develops, over time. Lots of like weird close-ups, excellent facial expression work. The things that people think of when they think Gil Kane, those we will see as they're developing, and I'm excited to be reading this series. So, but let's start. Let's talk about Green Lantern number 1. From from July and August of 1960. Because
Yeah.
remember, these were bi-monthly at this time. So, and the lead story is called The Planet of Doomed Men.
Yeah.
And it was written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Murphy Anderson.
I mean, this cover is great.
The splash panel?
Yeah, with
This great mohawked gorilla.
ape-looking thing.
Yeah. People talk about Kirby monsters, and I mentioned this, but like Gil Kane monsters are really cool too.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So jumping in, we have Hal Jordan flying his.
Is Hal Jordan the Green Lantern? Oh wait, yes.
Spoilers, I guess.
No, not at all. So he's flying around, being a test pilot, being cool.
And we have the first kind of introduction of the Guardians here.
Not kind of. This is the first appearance of the Guardians, and this is really important. I love how the mythology and all the elements of Green Lantern are kind of introduced slowly.
Yeah, you get little drops here and there.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna call it a duplicate. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
A duplicate of Hal Jordan is projected in front of the Guardians.
But it's connected to Hal's consciousness.
Yeah.
So.
And they're like, "Hey, buddy, you get this ring. What makes you think you're, part of our crew?"
They don't. You're paraphrasing, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
But see, the ring chose Hal Jordan, but the Guardians, there's never been a human Green Lantern.
Right.
And the Guardians are not sure if humanity is a race ready to wield the ring. And so they want to, not necessarily test him, but they want to make sure.
Yeah.
And so they're monitoring him closely. And don't they send him on a mission?
Well, first they kind of ask him, "Hey, how'd you get the ring?"
Yes, and then we get a recounting, of course, of Abin Sur's spacecraft crashing.
Yeah, which makes sense if they're moving from Showcase to a Green Lantern book.
Solo book, right? Because especially kids may not have gotten that issue.
Yeah.
So you don't. I love that you don't have to have read the Showcase issues to jump right in and know what Green Lantern's all about.
Yep.
And I like that.
So they send him on this mission to another planet to kind of rescue these early humanoids.
Yeah.
This is a lot longer of a recap than I was expecting.
Oh, a recap of the origin.
Yeah.
It practically reprints the whole origin.
Yeah. So it shows him doing the
Lantern
oath in front of the Guardians. They're like, "Oh, yeah, he knows the oath. That's good." They send him off.
It's so funny because he thinks he made it up,
Right.
but really it's part of like everything that the Lantern Corps is about. But he doesn't know that there's a Corps yet, really.
Yeah, no, we get the droplet of the Guardians.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
really...
and our show today, I think it's the next time we talk about Green Lantern, we'll see Tomar Ray, and we'll see Sinestro, and just like things are gonna really snowball soon. But let's talk about this today.
Yeah.
So they go to this planet, and he's talking to these cavemen.
Yeah.
And they're living in fear, and they're being held back from progressing by this giant gorilla thing called the Drig.
Yes, the Drig. And he the power beam isn't really effective against him. I can't remember. Is he yellowish?
I don't know, because that is the problem, because this is a black and white book.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder when if I do read the Flash stuff with you or somebody else, when they show the Reverse Flash, if that's going to be confusing.
Oh,
because the costume is practically the same.
Yeah.
The only thing is different, I think, there's a black inside that Flash symbol on the suit. But yeah.
Yeah. But his ring is ineffective against the Drig, and so he has to come up with a different way of stopping him.
Right, doesn't he? He finds a way to trap him in ice or something.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And I like... it was like that other issue in the Showcase run where Hal saved those people from the giant yellow pterodactyls, and he tricked the pterodactyls into going into a cave and then used the ring to close the cave up.
Yeah.
That was great.
One thing I really liked about... What I like about seeing this early Green Lantern stuff is that, yes, he can fly, yes, he has cool abilities, but it's not like a Superman situation where Superman can punch his way out of a situation, or he's stronger than anything that he's going to come up against.
Well, right.
And so Green Lantern has to use his imagination to like overcome his foes. So like he freezes the Drig rather than punching it to death or knocking it out or whatever.
Right. And like really the whole thing is like, oh, he freezes the thing, traps it, and the cavemen are saved, and then he goes home.
Yeah. Just
and try to get a date with Carol.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, but what you were just describing is pretty indicative of DC Comics in general in the Silver Age. The Flash stories and Superman stories and all the other things. Like, yes, we got powers, but it's really not all about just punching the crap out of people.
Right.
It's okay. I am in here is a real problem-solving situation. How can I use the abilities I have to solve this? And it's complicated. It's they're real. It put them in some real pickles that are. It's not just big slugfests.
Right.
Marvel is big on the slugfests.
I mean, later on in storylines, you'll get some big slugfest with characters, but I mean, early on.
But typically, the Silver Age, it's a lot of wacky stuff, and again, big. Strange situations. How do I get out of this? How do I use my powers to get out of that? And it's just a different style of storytelling. And you know, we talk, you know, Marvel and DC, we can look at them as having house art styles, but I think they also have house storytelling styles too. They're just very different vibes. I think they're both excellent, and I like looking at the 1960s as a whole and being like, oh man, there's a lot of great things going on in comics. And a lot of it's very different.
You mentioned that some of these stories are silly and, you know, things like that. I mean, compared to especially modern comics that are very melodramatic and like dark, and you know, there's always some like heaviness to them.
Right. But a lot of those stories are. Oh, go ahead.
There's a good like every once in a while, it's good to have a little dose of the silly, you know.
Well, here's the thing.
Superman and his pal. Jimmy Olsen.
Oh my gosh.
Where Jimmy Olsen's getting into some crazy shenanigans.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy Olsen stories are crazy awesome. Jeff on the main show, and I'm going to stop calling it that real soon because I think it undermines what you and Jordan do on the show. But when I record with Jeff, like he and I are going to be talking about Jimmy Olsen very soon.
Awesome.
Like some issues of that, and gosh, those are so wackadoo. Like Jimmy becomes a woman, Jimmy marries an ape, you know, Jimmy is Turtle Boy, Jimmy's Elastic Lad, he's a werewolf, crazy type of. There's Bizarro Jimmy, like you have no idea the nuts stuff. And
so every now and then, today, if you're reading modern comics, it's good to get a little dose of silly,
or
because
it's nice to be able to go and just read one and done stories that are fun. That are like, this is just pure enjoyment. I feel like a lot of modern comics, they read too quick, but you also have to keep getting issue after issue to like keep going, and they're just not very satisfying.
Yeah.
And for as expensive as they are, it's like, why would I get that instead of like trades of Silver Age stuff, which is really fun?
Yeah. That is not to say I'm not buying new comics. I am buying new comics. I just it's good to have this kind of dose of I mean, kind of random problem solving and silliness.
Yes. So, but moving on to the second feature in issue number 1 is Menace of the Giant Puppet.
Yeah.
Written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella. Puppets, toys. I don't like it. I don't like the Toy Man. I don't like characters that are like that. It's dumb. But let's talk about this story.
So this one starts off in the same vein as many Green Lantern stories of this time.
At Ferris Air.
With Carol pining over the Green Lantern and wanting to settle him down and tie the knot with him.
Yeah.
Because she's just a silly woman. Speaking from back then, of course. So yeah, Carol wants to marry him. They go on this kind of moonlight walk.
Yeah. With Green Lantern.
With Green Lantern, yes.
Hal's still getting the cold shoulder.
Right. And a guy flops into the river and he has to go save her, which seems like it's happened before.
Yeah.
You know.
And Carol gets really mad.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it did happen before. This is a flashback. She's remembering that from like one of the issues in the showcase run.
Gotcha.
But yeah, she gets really mad about that. And I'm like, can you really? You could be that catty? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, there's a parade for Green Lantern.
I think is it for Green Lantern or is it? The
Is it
city
just-
council is having a parade and Green Lantern has agreed to appear.
Okay. Yeah.
So Green Lantern's flying around in the parade, but behind him is this giant puppet that looks kind of like the Joker.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's got that long John Carradine kind of face.
Yeah. At the same time, there's a jewelry bank robbery happening.
Yes. Oh man.
It's one or the other. Let's be honest. A lot of these stories, it's one or the other.
It's a jewel thief, bank robbery, or yeah, or jewel thieves robbing a bank.
Right. Yeah.
Bank robbers stealing jewels.
So there's a holdup going on. Green Lantern or Hal's there. Does the spinning
through a revolving door.
Yeah.
And chases into the costume. Where have I seen that? Oh, Superman the movie.
Yep. That's exactly where you've seen it.
But this does, to be fair, this does precede that by almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So.
And he punches him right in the face with a giant constructed fist, green
Yeah,
fist.
and see, not calling them constructs so much. And I like how the things he makes are a little more rudimentary early on.
Yeah.
Or just using the power beam to pick stuff up. Yeah,
so they kind of lock him up, and the guy has no idea what he was doing.
What?
Yeah.
So he's being controlled by somebody.
Yeah. A puppet.
It's interesting that in like 1961 or 62, in the Fantastic Four, there's a villain called the Puppet Master, who uses that radioactive clay to create
radioactive clay. It does that.
If you have radiation, that's what it is. Everything's radiation. It's the 60s, especially at Marvel, over at Marvel. But this Puppet Master precedes the Marvel Comics Puppet Master.
Mm-hmm.
This is a one-off villain. That would be a recurring foe. Because he had that radioactive clay. Shut up with your smirk. Where he would sculpt, like, here's the thing, and make him go do bad things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like voodoo dolls.
Yeah, voodoo radiation is...
Radioactive voodoo.
It's a nasty thing to deal with. Green Lantern flies out. He's returning to the parade.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden...
the giant puppet that's behind him opens fires on him.
Yeah. Starts shooting a gun.
Yeah.
Or blast or something.
Yeah. But Green Lantern turns the ray into confetti. Which...
Oh, yeah.
And then he uses a giant, like, monkey wrench to smash... that he made out of the ring energy to smash the gun, which is fun. I like that.
So he looks up, sees a crane holding the puppet with the driver passed out in kind of the same manner that...
Yeah. So our villain, the Puppet Master, who wears Jodhpurs, by the way, which is funny.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I thought those were the stupidest pants of all time.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and now I'm kind of like, what do I have? What are your notes about there?
Oh, it's making fun of the incredible grammar of criminals.
Incredible? Like...
Yeah,
I mean,
so my note says, criminals with incredible grammar and vocabulary skills. Also, if they aren't monsters, they're dealing with white men in suits. The good old days when criminals had class.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of these villains are just like a scientist who makes a super weapon, or just white-collar, boring criminals.
Yeah.
Not a lot of super villains.
No,
And
not yet.
Not yet. And that can be seen as a drawback of Silver Age DC. But once the supervillains show up...
Yeah, you're in for...
It's awesome. And, well, I think like the Justice League almost always had a supervillain.
Right, yeah.
And that's probably one of the strengths of that series. Which we should read that, too, at some point.
But, I mean, if you look at Batman, the Joker isn't necessarily a supervillain. He's just insane.
Look, if you are a gimmicky fella in a colorful costume. You don't have to have superpowers to be a supervillain.
That's true.
But I mean, yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to have powers to be a superhero. You don't have to have powers to be a supervillain. Okay.
So we have I've lost his name. But the main bad in this issue.
The Puppet Master.
Yeah, the Puppet Master. He has a hypno cannon of some sort.
Right.
That he hypnotizes people from a distance.
Yeah.
And
it looks like a giant barrel of a gun that he looks through a periscope.
No, this has me. Yeah. And so he's gonna try to use it against Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
And
so fast forward, Green Lantern's at like a charity ball with Carol.
Yeah. So I have an issue with this.
Okay.
If I were a citizen during this time and
It's 1960.
And Green Lantern's around saving people, I'd be a little upset that he spends so much time socializing with Carol Ferris.
Well, you have to remember, like, I think most of the 50s, Batman spends, like, you know, in daylight, Batman does.
Right.
In daylight, doing all kinds of crap for charity.
Right.
Or, like, ribbon cuttings. And I'm like, where's my Dark Knight? You know, and, like, aren't there
criminals out during the day that he could be stopping? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but...
Maybe not Batman. But definitely Green Lantern. Because with all the white-collar criminals that he's stopped so far, there's got to be someone somewhere doing something nefarious.
But at the same time, I don't think a lot of superheroes don't always necessarily go on patrol.
Right.
They necessarily, they hear about trouble and then go there. But, yeah. You know, I think we like to think of Batman going on patrol or... You know, a lot of solo non-team. Okay, Batman's in a team, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it.
A lot of heroes go on patrols.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand also just like listening to it on the police scanner and then going to when you hear about something.
Right.
And you're still a person. You have free time.
Yeah.
So
he is doing it as Green Lantern, though.
He could. Maybe he's listening to the police band through the ring.
Through the ring. Okay.
He could be doing that. We don't know.
It's not mentioned, but it could be happening.
Yeah. So anyway, the Puppet Master yanks him away from the charity ball, and of course Carol does not get what's going on.
Unhappy.
Man.
Good gracious, is what she says. What's happening to GL?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's pulled away due to an impurity essential to its strength. GL's ring has no power over anything yellow.
And the Puppet Master is wearing all yellow.
Yeah. He has a...
So that means he's wearing yellow jodhpurs?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Right, so he uses rope to kind of like tether itself around.
Oh, yeah, he uses the ring to grab some rope to tie the guy up with.
Yeah.
And then carries him off to the police station like a puppet on strings.
So not only does JL capture criminals...
GL.
What did I say? JL?
JL.
Sorry about that. Capture criminals, he humiliates them as well.
Yeah. That's like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was listening to a thing like it's the son of the guy who directed Gremlins. Oh no, the son of the guy who directed Animal House and American Werewolf in London.
Okay.
This is the kid who did Chronicle.
Oh.
Anyway, which I didn't see, but anyway, that guy, he did that great Death of Superman YouTube video.
I'm not sure what.
You'll think of it later. But anyway, he has said, no, what people hate Spider-Man. He makes fun of his villains and humiliates them.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's a bully. If you really think about it, it's like...
Well, he was bullied, and so the only power structure he's seen in his teenage years was bullies, and so he's going to revert back to bullying.
Yeah, but then, ironically, Marvel's got an anti-bullying one-shot coming out, and I'm sure Spider-Man's going to be, like, front and center. And
bullying bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway.
That's our good friend Sean Roof, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Roommate and occasional guest on the show chiming in. Yay, Sean.
Yay.
I think, by the way, that Marvel anti-bullying one-shot. I think it's more Avengers-centric, but it's going to be like 48 pages for like $1.99. It's coming out soon.
Okay.
But, hey, you know what's even cheaper than that? Not buying it at all.
Absolutely.
All
right, so moving on to...
Green Lantern #2.
Green Lantern #2. That's true.
Yes, and the lead feature is The Secret of the Golden Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
now, I really enjoyed this story. This was written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella, as most of these stories are. But, but this is a story that introduces the Weaponers of Quard.
Yeah.
And now in Quard, everyone's evil and dishonest. Yeah. And it's the antimatter universe.
Yeah, it's how that's how their society works. It's good, quote unquote, to be evil.
Yeah.
And being good is bad.
But if everyone's completely dishonest and stuff, how would their society even become advanced?
I have no idea.
They would have to be millennia older than ours.
Right.
To have ever gotten very far. Like, how would you even have, like, somebody who's a bookkeeper, like, and do their job well?
Yeah.
But anyway, a guy from Quard who the Quardians look human enough to pass in our world, but they do look weird. You can look at them and he's weird.
Yeah.
They look weird. But in the antimatter universe, where Quard is a planet, I realized that the Anti-Monitor is kind of like like a Galactus.
Yeah.
Over there. I mean, I know that's a character that's not introduced for decades later, but
I can see
I mean, because I remember the Weaponers of Quard were his underlings in Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember because Barry Allen was fighting them on Quard. Which is awesome.
Correct.
But you are correct, sir. But anyway, so one of the Quardians, who's actually good, journeys to the positive matter universe.
Yeah.
They call it the plus.
The plus. Yeah, that sat weird with me.
Yeah, it's not very good terminology, so we'll just call it the positive matter universe.
Yeah.
Here on Earth 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And stuff. What's going on now?
Yeah, so, I mean, it starts off kind of like any other place with Carol.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some other things happening. Mysterious circular holes are showing up in different places. Things are going missing, and the authorities can't figure it out, so GL needs to
investigate.
Yeah.
So this Quardian who has journeyed to Earth recognizes Hal Jordan and approaches him on the street.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, you know Green Lantern. I need to get in contact with him because I need help."
Yeah.
And so he explains his story of coming from Quard and how there's a small group of other Quardians who are also good,
right,
that are trying to escape the evil Quardians.
Yeah, because they want to get away from Quard because Quard sucks if you're good.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think them being good is like they'll be imprisoned or executed or something if they were found out. So it's like a secret kind of resistance almost.
Yeah, almost.
Except they're not like trying to overthrow Quard. They're just like, this isn't the place for us to be, and we need to leave.
Sucks. Let's get out of here.
They're all dudes, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that Quardians don't have women, but everyone in this small group of good guys from Quard is male.
I didn't notice that, but you are correct.
Yeah.
Again. So yeah, he escapes to the positive world.
Yeah.
The evil Quardians realize it, and they send
they send a destroyer.
Yeah, a destroyer. That's
who's one of the Weaponers of Quard.
Yeah.
To pursue him. Now the destroyers, they have these amazing antimatter thunderbolts that like destroy matter, and that's where these weird holes were showing up.
Nothing was going missing. Holes were showing up, and nothing was going missing. And they were confused about it.
Because they figured, is this like some super science to like steal stuff? No, This guy is sent to kill someone.
Yeah.
And I love the Weaponers. They have such a cool costume. He's got like a winged helmet with a visor.
Yeah.
And he's got a shield and a quiver of thunderbolts.
Yeah.
That he hurls, which is kind of awesome.
He is pretty awesome.
I think Hal still doesn't reveal that he is Green Lantern, but he says, "I'll get in touch with Green Lantern," and Green Lantern confronts.
And
he does the
as
oath,
soon as he switches clothes, the Destroyer shows up.
Right.
To take out the Cordian.
Now, the Thunderbolts are yellow.
Yeah. And so he can't really block them because, as we know,
Right.
there's an impurity in the power battery that...
A necessary impurity.
Necessary impurity that stops them from being effective against yellow items.
Yes.
Yellow things.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder.
Yes. So Teleteg, that was the good guy from
Teleteg,
Quard.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Neat name. But yeah, Hal's got to, indirectly combat the Destroyer.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And then I think he beats him, and then he goes to Quard.
Right. So he goes invisible, and then
Right.
defeats him. And then he goes to Quard to save the other Cordians
Yeah.
that are good.
Right.
The good Cordians. But he has to fight some more of the
Destroyers.
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting because you see him do things with the Power Ring like transmute matter into other stuff.
Yeah.
Or turn invisible. You just don't see that now.
No, not at all. You see him using constructs to do things, shields, guns, that kind of thing, but you don't really see him change stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
And the ring, it's like the ring can do other things, like it's like a supercomputer and like contact other lanterns and okay, it's got other abilities, but invisibility or matter transmutation, you just don't see that
no,
much.
not at all.
So,
So he defeats the other destroyers, kind of in the same manner as the first destroyer.
yeah,
He rescues the friends of Teleteg.
yeah,
And then he shuts down the kind of portal
right.
to Quard by dropping rocks on it.
Now, Hal did fail to save Teleteg. He was killed by the Destroyer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but he did save his friends,
Yes, that's true.
which was good.
Yeah.
So yay.
Yeah, and
That's
so
nice.
Towards the end of this,
Yeah.
I realized, hey, you know what? This is going to start being kind of a story arc because those guys aren't going away.
No, and this is an important part because the Quardians are the mortal enemies of the Guardians on Oa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important.
Yeah.
And we'll see, I think we see the Guardians again in an issue we'll talk about today.
Yeah.
I think. So, yeah, moving on to the second feature in this issue is Riddle of the Frozen Ghost Town.
That's right.
Oh, boy. And this
So-
was... What?
Oh, go ahead.
This was written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
So another important issue because it does introduce Pieface,
Oh, yes, this is
the Inuit.
sidekick for Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
And I realized, well, why do people have sidekicks or lame? Look, Hal has to be able to have you gotta have somebody who knows the secret.
Right.
You have somebody to confide in, somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
on adventures, someone to get in trouble, that you can rescue. This opens the door for lots more
Right.
story possibilities.
So it does open up the trope of, oh no, my sidekick friend is in trouble, and so
But it's a good trope. There's lots of stories you can tell with
yeah.
it. It seems kind of like, it's a cliche, but for superhero comics, you need a confidant or a girlfriend or someone who knows who you are that can be
yeah,
in trouble. And it's good to have somebody know, because otherwise it can't. Does it have to be about always trying to keep your secret identity safe?
right,
Like, I have read a million Superman stories where it's like Lois is gonna find out I'm Superman,
Right.
but then he finds a way to trick her into, it was just one of my robots
Right.
or something.
roofies.
No, that's
What?
horrible.
Oh, okay.
That hasn't been yet.
Oh my gosh.
So again, starts out the way many Green Lantern comics do, with Hal and Carol and Hal being disappointed by Carol and not loving him. But so it introduces Pieface, and he's kind of being roughed up by some no good suit-clad ruffians,
jerk faces. Now,
Yeah.
Pieface is not a great big fella,
No,
but he is a mechanic at Ferris Air, and working on the Aero McPlanes,
yeah.
and
And so he's being roughed up by these two suited men, and we watch Hal.
not Green Lantern, Hal come up and beat him up and send him packing.
Yeah, and so it kind of starts this friendship between the two of them, Pieface and Hal. But there's a problem back in Pieface's kind of native land
In Alaska?
Yeah,
The mythical land of Alaska.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some mining, I think it was, that these guys were wanting to do, and it was going to kind of screw over his people, which is a fairly American thing.
Say, I'm going to ask you a question. Are the Inuit more like Native Americans or more like Asians? Or are they kind of a mix of that?
So, quick history lesson.
I know about the ice bridge.
So, the ice bridge,
Yeah.
they probably stopped there first, and then
Okay.
came down to America, quote
Okay.
unquote. Yes, Sean?
Oh, Sean raised his hand.
Yeah.
Yes. Similar, but the reason they have the extra fat around their eyes, because that's actually a natural thing to help block out the sun,
Right.
so you don't go blind.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they sort of settled where snow is, so they kept the layer of fat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
History and science.
Yep.
You guys are so lucky to be listening to this podcast
Or God
today.
did it.
Or God did
Whichever
it.
you
Whichever
prefer.
fits.
To be inclusive.
And Jesus and angels. Don't forget.
Yep.
Yeah.
And God talked.
Oh my gosh, this is so bad.
Alright.
But so they're more. Yes, Native Americans.
Yes.
Okay.
Native North America.
First Nation peoples.
First Nation peoples. Yeah,
There we go.
That's better.
That's what we like to say.
Right. Okay, back to comics.
So are the Chinamen or Indians?
This turned into a weird political.
No,
No,
we're just gonna go back. So Pieface, hey.
Pieface, hey, how you doing? Yeah, so there's a map that Pieface has seen that kind of lays out the mine and things.
Oh, there's a mine.
Yeah.
That these guys want to get to the mine where there's gold or diamonds or something.
So they can exploit the land that the native peoples were on.
Oh.
Sounds familiar. Anyways.
Because that's exactly what happened to you personally.
Yes. And so Green Lantern shows up. Pieface tells Hal Jordan about the map and all this stuff and how he can't remember it.
Yeah.
Green Lantern shows up and does his power ring on his brain again, and extracts the information
Oh yeah.
from the brain of Pieface, and together they fly off to Alaska.
Now he could have just asked him where it was.
I don't think he remembered it.
So he was able to go into his mind and find it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He's
this
done
is-
neurosurgery with this ring before, so this isn't a stretch.
Right. Oh
Um,
yeah, he did that with the Invisible Destroyer,
Yeah.
who only has one other Silver Age appearance.
Really.
And it's in an issue of Justice League. And then that character wasn't used again for like decades.
Wow.
Yeah. So
They take off to Alaska. It's Camp Arctic, but
okay.
I'm assuming they're flying to
Yeah.
Alaska.
Do you know that when it's springtime in Alaska, it's 40 below?
Oh wow.
You know that song? No?
I don't know that song.
It's Johnny Horton's song.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay. So
Yeah, Crickets is right. Chirp, chirp, chirp.
So Green Lantern and Pieface get up there. They see the ruffian miners, bad guys at the, but
Surprised they're white.
right, yeah. Green
That's not
Lantern's
a
power
surprise.
ring is running out of juice. They've flown all day, running out of juice.
This is interesting because Hal has not started using the pocket dimension to keep the lantern, access to the lantern or the
Right.
power battery at all times. So he just charged it up and then went somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah. And so 4 guys jump the Green Lantern and knock him out.
Mhm.
And then they
They pour water on him and freeze him solid.
freeze him solid. Yeah.
Wah.
I'm going to say he doesn't survive that.
Because no one would. Because of the magic of comic books.
Right. He's able to power through and break the ice.
Because he has a tiny bit of power
Tiny
in his
bit-
ring.
Yeah. And so he tricks them into believing he still has power in the ring, and it gives him just enough time to beat him up.
Yay!
He gets back to Pieface. Pieface sees him punch a guy.
Yeah.
And Pieface is like, "Look, I know your secret now." He's like, "What? No." He's like, "Look, the way you punched the guy is exactly what I saw when Hal punched the guy."
Yeah.
He's like, "I am the Green Lantern."
He's like, Ninja, please. You ain't gonna fool me.
"Yeah, great fish hooks," he says.
Oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
right. Pieface does continue to say that,
Yeah.
frequently. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Yeah. Great fish hooks.
Oh yeah. Here's my notes on the white men taking advantage of the native Inuits.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
I do want to mention Pieface.
did they get the gold to save the natives that
Yes.
saved the tribe? Isn't
Yeah.
that nice? And then Pieface doesn't want the money. He's going to stay and be Hal's mechanic.
Yeah.
He's going to give it all to his people.
All those people, it's gonna help them out. So
He doesn't want any of that casino money.
uh,
You get casino money.
I
don't
do get to see them.
you? Yeah.
Pieface, I looked it up because I was like, this seems a little racist. And it didn't become a racial slur until after Green Lantern introduced Pieface as a character, and then people have kind of appropriated it as a racial slur.
So, wow. Way to be a terrible trendsetter.
Right.
DC Comics.
I'm sure
but see,
they
nothing
had-
about Pieface other than great fish hooks. It's like, what do we know about him? Alaska, it's cold, they fish in the ice. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
That's all they know.
Right.
You
There's no Wikipedia back then, guys.
they had Encyclopedia,
They had encyclopedias.
which probably had an article, a few inches tall in a hardbound book
Yeah.
about
At the
Eskimos.
library.
Yeah.
At the library.
Yeah.
Because those things are expensive.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So the secondary story in this issue.
No, that was the second. Now we're
That was.
moving on to...
Oh, right.
So yeah, now Pieface is Hal's confidant. He's the
Yeah.
only one who knows he's a Green Lantern, and this is a good.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to Green Lantern number 3. The lead story is called "The Amazing Theft of the Power Lamp,"
Yeah.
written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella.
There you go.
Um,
So our
did I say
opening-
power ring? Power lamp.
Yeah. So yeah, the opening story is the amazing theft of the power lamp.
Yes.
Uh,
It's the Quardians again.
yeah.
The Weaponers of Quard find a way to steal
Yes.
the power battery.
Yeah. So Hal goes in to charge up his ring,
Mm-hmm.
and he's transported. I think. Is that what happens?
What do you mean?
Yeah. So he's here,
Yeah.
and then he's in the middle of the desert.
Oh yeah, they trick him
That's right.
into seeing a mirage. So he thinks he is back at Ferris Air, but it's an illusion.
Because he's in the desert.
Yo. Yeah.
Right.
Those Quardians are tricky.
So prior to that, Hal is looking into the window of Carol Ferris, and
Like a creeper.
yeah. So the narration says, as the pretty boss of Ferris continues working without realizing she's being watched.
Oh my god.
So there were plenty of other ways to have described Carol Ferris, other than pretty.
Yeah.
Successful, competent,
Yeah.
smart,
No.
but she's female, and so
Right.
she's pretty, and that's how she is as a boss. She's pretty.
Yeah.
Didn't sit well with me.
Okay. I appreciate how much of a feminist you are. Spencer.
I do my best.
Yeah. So yeah.
So after that, after he's creepily watching
Creepily.
Carol,
Yeah.
he sees the Mirage, as the confused Crusader stares about. He takes off back to the real Ferrisair, I guess.
Yeah. So he figured out the ruse, but it was enough to trick him so they could steal the power battery.
Yeah.
And Pieface was listening in on some radio waves or something. What's going on? Or a TV antenna.
Yeah, he's climbing up, fixing someone's TV. His like a apartment manager or something's like, he needs it fixed. He goes up and fixes it. But somehow
be sure to
picks
get a
up
person
the-
of color to be your handyman. That's
But while he's up there, he picks up radio waves of some sort, some
Yeah.
kind of waves.
Oh,
of
and
the accordions.
he picks up a transmission from them and realizes what they're
Yeah.
doing.
Uh,
So this is great because otherwise Hal would have been in the dark. What
Right.
happened just now?
Yeah, where's my power battery?
Yeah.
Because it's gone missing.
So he still has power in the ring. So how does he get to Quard?
It doesn't. I don't remember.
Can he just open up portals,
I think he might be able to just open up portals.
or does he figure out where they opened up a portal and whisked it away?
Yes,
and
he
goes
follows
there.
the radiation. Of,
Oh, because he can track the stuff. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes more sense.
yes.
But man, if he could open up portals, geez,
Right,
that's
yeah.
crazy powerful. Really, when you think about it.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway,
He follows the radiation of his power battery back through the portal to Quard.
mm-hmm.
And they're kind of sitting there waiting for him. So they fire on him. He has his power ring protect him, but they place kind of place a trap for him, and they place his power battery underneath a yellow dome,
Yeah.
and he can't get through it. And so he starts kind of searching it, and he's looking for any kind of opening to get inside, and he finds one. It's a pinprick, and he's able to push through the pinprick and hammer his way out because it's not yellow on the inside.
Right.
Luckily.
I love that. This was really fun.
Yeah. He in the nick of time he kind of powers up his ring again.
Right, because it was almost out of juice.
Right. Throws it over his shoulder and takes off. And then we see him being shot down by the Quardians, and everything is terrifying. But luckily, he has made a duplicate of himself.
Right.
And has snuck away invisibly
Right.
from Quard.
It was a switcheroo.
Yeah.
Or a decoy.
Yeah.
Which I like. I mean, it wasn't the decoy that smashed out of the thing, but he let them fire on a pretend,
Right.
a copy while he escaped. And then he catches the couple of Quardians who were on Earth.
Right. So, quick question.
Okay.
In what capacity are the police able to, what are they going to do with the Quardians?
I don't know, because they're
Are they
not...
just going to throw them in jail?
I wouldn't think that they have a... it's like, do they put them in Guantanamo? That's a real good question. Do they...
Sure, they have information.
So my question is, shouldn't he hand them over to the Guardians? But he doesn't really know the Guardians yet.
Really, no.
And so he's just taking all these...
Well, it's... Yeah, like, these Quardians are just going to Earth prison? Like,
yes.
it's kind of like on...
They would love it there, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
wouldn't they think they're doing it's a good thing?
Yeah. Because all the people in jail are dishonest,
They'd be
obviously.
like, why are these people here?
Yeah.
Well,
They're
they're
awesome.
still imprisoned. It's still not pleasant.
Right, I
At
get
least
yeah.
the company is.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Yeah, I have some real questions about, like, what authority or jurisdiction does Earth people have to try and imprison people from another world?
Right.
Do they have rights?
Actually, from another universe.
Yeah, not even this universe.
They're from the antimatter universe.
So I'm going to say no, they don't have rights, Sean.
They generally don't have legal rights because they're not citizens, but
They probably don't have fingerprints.
They might. I don't know. Who knows?
I
But
think that's a determination.
there's a lot of questions there.
There are.
It's tricky. Let's talk about the backup feature in this book,
Yeah.
in this issue.
The Leap Year Menace.
Yeah, I got some stuff about this story, okay?
Okay.
First of all, let's get out of the way. Written by John Broome, penciled by Gil Kane, and inked by Joe Giella. As most of these are.
Yeah.
Um,
So again, Green Lantern is socializing too much.
right. What is he at the community chess drive?
Yeah.
Man! Lame.
Right. You might get $10 for a beauty contest though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's pretty good.
Monopoly.
Oh, right.
Monopoly followers out there.
Yeah. But yeah, and he's swarmed by chicks. Oh no, and then runs away.
Yeah.
Flies away. But
Oh,
But
yeah,
yeah.
get out of here.
But Hal's trying to get a date with Carol, and it just ain't happening.
And it fails miserably.
Yeah.
He basically calls around. He's like, "Do you really want to marry Green Lantern? I'm right here." And she's like, "Well, I have to get back to work."
Like, dang.
Yeah.
Man, and every time she is like Jean Loring crazy, okay? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, is that with a sarcastic yeah?
It's yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking
I don't
about.
know what you're
Jean
talking
Loring, girlfriend then wife of the Atom.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, like, okay, spoilers. Carol later becomes a Star Sapphire. Insane.
Right.
But also, there's a schizophrenic, like, other aspect of herself who splits off from her and is male, called the Predator. And wants to be with her, like, as a mate. Sexually.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's a Green Lantern villain. So there's all kinds of, like, Carol is nuts
Yeah.
stuff. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Just throw that out there.
Okay.
So,
So Green Lantern has to show up to ribbon cutting. I'm not sure what
oh
it
my
is.
gosh. It's
another another community chess thing. It's
so,
raining. He makes a giant umbrella. Women are impressed. Yeah.
And then it stops raining, and that's fine. So
Right.
it didn't really matter.
Oh, and then
but,
Carol shows up, and she is determined to ask him to marry him because it is Leap Day.
Yeah.
And
That's the only time of in every 4 years when women have rights.
right.
Yeah.
Every 4 years
Yeah.
on one day.
Right. But no, it's a very old tradition.
Right.
It's like Sadie Hawkins dance. Although I'm sure Sadie Hawkins actually, that is a 20th century thing. And it actually comes from the Little Abner comic strip.
Oh.
Yeah. Because there was a Sadie Hawkins Day race.
Ah.
Where any gallon dog patch that could... any single gallon dog patch that could race and catch a fella,
Uh-huh.
she could marry that guy.
Oh.
Huh.
That seems inappropriate.
Yeah, way to go, Al Cap.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Carol finally gets Green Lantern to come and sit down in the park. And, they're talking, and she is pushing the marriage thing pretty she's pretty blunt about it. And he is looking for any excuse to jump ship.
Really?
Yeah, he's trying to get out of there. And so he creates this monster thing with the power ring. And he's like, oh, I gotta go fight it. But at the same time, he is hit in the head
By a kid's flying model airplane.
and he is knocked unconscious.
So Green Lantern has abused his power
Uh-huh.
and created a terrible menace
Right.
that just goes and runs amok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one issue I had with this is how powerful is his willpower? Because he is knocked unconscious, and this monster is able to move through the city and destroy stuff while the Green Lantern is unconscious. But it is a construct of the ring,
Okay.
which is powered by Hal Jordan's willpower.
Okay.
But he's knocked out. So what influence would he have over anything? Wouldn't it just fade out?
You would think that it's created by his willpower, and it would just fade as he was unconscious. I think later stories do that. But there's also, because I always thought, like, yeah, he has to be thinking about it for it to be there.
Right.
That's a pretty common trope of Green Lantern. But I also think of, there's a story, like in Justice League they have the JSA, JLA team-ups.
Uh-huh.
Alan Scott and Hal Jordan team up and create a prison to trap Solomon Grundy.
Uh-huh.
And it's out of this Green Lantern energy. But I'm like, how does it stay when they're not concentrating on it?
Right.
So it's almost as if he can make stuff that's permanent.
Okay.
I don't understand that. Either he makes it out of dust particles and makes it out of solid matter using the ring.
Okay.
But
I
this, I
just
don't...
wondered.
Yeah.
So he's knocked unconscious. Carol is screaming. She takes him to the hospital. And this poor creature is realizing it's a thing. It has consciousness. It's accidentally moving through this town. It doesn't know why it's moving through the town.
Right, and
it feels kind of bad.
Yeah.
But then when they start shooting the tanks and rockets at it, it gets a little upset. And you know what? Maybe our first reaction isn't to shoot things.
Yeah. I mean, they're just like, it's a
things.
giant monster, and like, let's just destroy it.
Right.
It is a cool-looking monster.
Yeah.
So Hal does, like, regain consciousness. He destroys the monster and then repairs all the damage.
Yeah.
But, dude, you could have killed people.
Yeah.
Just because you were trying to get out of
a question from Carol, which she then asks him anyways when he comes back.
Right. But here's the thing.
Luckily.
He could have said, yup, okay, and agreed to marry her, then taken the mask off. You're going to keep that secret from your wife?
Right.
Like, duh. Like, what?
Do it after the I do's.
Oh my gosh.
Gotcha.
You know, like, no, but I think Barry Allen, like, as an example, I think he told Iris he was the Flash, like, when he proposed or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've read that, but...
Luckily, after she asks him, a bunch of other crazy ladies run up and ask him to marry him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, gotta go, folks. Can't do it. And so he's able to say no to everyone and not just Carol.
Mm.
And, well, what a way to squirm out of a proposal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we've run a little long on some of these issues, and that's fine. Why don't we break it up into two episodes?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay!
And so, back in just a scotch with episode number 132.
Yep.
Yay! Or it'll be later in the week for you listeners.